submersible with 5 people on board heading for the wreck of the Titanic has lost contact with its mothership. Nobody knows where it is or even whether the crew is still alive. But
you mad late, not gonna lie. Nah, I'm not even late. I just ain't streamed while it's been active. To be honest, yeah, I'm a little late. I'm a little bit late. But listen. I can't lie. You see how many are making fun out of the billionaires just because they're billionaires and they ran out of air like 5 hours ago. Yeah, I know. I see. That's so fucked. Well, that's actually fucked. And niggas are making fun out of the billionaires just because they're rich. Just because they worked harder in life and they got where they needed to go. They're making fun out of them. That's brazy. That's brazy. But listen, yeah. I can't lie. Imagine paying $250K to that's so fucked. That is incredibly fucked.
Clues from the U.S. Coast Guard who may have as little as 48 hours left to find a needle in a haystack.
It is a remote area.
What happened to it, though? What happened to it?
It is a challenge to conduct a search in that remote
Does anyone know what actually happened?
We are deploying all available assets to make sure that...
They died. No, I understand that. They're probably dead by now. But what actually happened to the submarine for them to lose it, though?
Rescue the people on
You know what I'm saying?
What do we know about this vessel? Who was on board? Where might search teams find it? And just how challenging a search is this going to be?
They control that thing with a PS1 controller. Obviously, it was going to sink, fam. Nah, you niggas are stupid.
The submersible is called Titan. It's a small ship, only
Titan,
about 22 feet long, which is tight for 5 people. One of those people we know is British billionaire, pilot, and explorer Hamish Harding. He had been posting on social media about the trip. Also on board, French diver Paul-Henri Nargeolet, Shahzada Dawood, and his son Suleiman from one of the wealthiest families in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And
He took his son. Man said his 19-year-old son. That's so fucked.
CEO of the company that runs these expeditions himself.
How long you been 14? Ever since I was 14.
Now, seats on board the Titan are expensive. Typically, it's $250,000 for the opportunity. Titan launched Sunday morning from a larger ship about 370 kilometers off the coast of Newfoundland.
The interest in the Titanic is the reason we go there. Almost nowhere else.
Why the fuck do you niggas want to go out to sea? I heard a man say this morning that more men had been to space than they've been that far below. That don't even make sense, bro. I swear on everything I love, that don't make sense. I don't even like going on water. When I go to the beach, I don't like stepping foot in the water just in case. The controller has stick drift. Now you
get funding to go
I'm not even laughing at that. This is so
decay
fucked.
For decades and see how coral reefs develop and see how metals
You wouldn't
decay
understand, bro.
and see how currents change.
Andre, you are a big black man. I know damn well you wouldn't step foot in any. You wouldn't be in any of these situations.
Yes, this is a ship designed to bring tourists to the Titanic, and in a pretty unconventional way.
Taking a completely new approach to the sub design, and it's all run with this game controller and these touch screens. So if you want to go forward, you press forward. If you want,
no way you niggas were serious about this. No fucking way! Are you serious? They controlled a submarine with 5 men inside with a PS1 controller. No! No! And it's wireless. The controller's wireless. PS1 controllers are meant to be wireless, blood. Nah, that is fucking ridiculous.
you go back, turn left, turn right, go down.
That's what I'm saying. That's not even like a proper controller, bro. That's one of the ones you get off Amazon like for $10 or something.
Hand it to anybody.
You get that for a 10 sheet.
From what we know, Titan had already made this trip several times this year. But let's be clear here. This is a very remote area, and the ocean floor where the Titanic wreckage is about 13,000 feet deep.
Shit.
It takes 2 hours just to go straight down.
What?
It is not for the faint-hearted to do something like this. To get in that sub, it's very close quarters. You're in it for a long time. You're bolted in from the outside. There's no way out. There's no hatch to get out of it.
Man said staring at water. Andre, you know how dark it is. You know the submarine probably logged off. No food, no water. Even though there was water right in front of them, they had no food, no water. It was dark as fuck. Not even sharks circling because they can't go that deep. There was nothing down there. It was themselves. There was not a single thing down there apart from themselves. And they were just looking outside, nothing. I'm calling the police. Okay. No Wi-Fi to call the police.
The problem
Bro.
started about 1 hour and 45 minutes.
How much to do this?
after
You
the
can't
submersible
pay me
began
to die.
making its descent.
That's stupid.
Communication between it and the ship it launched from just cut off, which is really bad because from that moment on, command crews on the surface have no idea whether the crew below needs help, whether they're lost, whether other critical equipment has also failed, or whether the ship itself is even still intact.
Hi Fabs, how has your day been?
My day's been good. I just woke up, went to the gym. I'm here. Thank you for the fucking prime, Leah.
The
How's your day
pressure
been?
when you're that deep underwater is enormous, about 4,000 psi, pounds per square inch, which, just to put that in perspective, is like having the weight of a car pressing down on every square inch of the ship. According to OceanGate, that's the company that owns the vessel, there are sensors on board that monitor that pressure, making sure the ship doesn't crumple under the weight. That can theoretically give the crew on board enough time to realize if there's a problem and then rise back up to the surface. But that relies on everything running the way it should.
The Coast Guard out of Boston is helping search for a missing
This is so
submarine
scary.
that was being used
Nigga,
to
just
tour
being in the
the
water like
Titanic.
that, it just...
Once
Man said the man I
OceanGate
just pussy
realized
swim up.
something had gone wrong, it reached out to the U.S. Coast Guard, which began organizing a surface search. That means looking above water.
At the same time, we launched a C-130 aircraft to conduct an aerial search, both visual and radar, of the scene.
The Canadian Coast Guard is also helping with 2 other planes in the sky. But you might wonder, why look for an underwater vessel above water?
Yeah.
Well, 2 reasons. One, remember that all we know is that communication is down. Once that happened, the submersible could have abandoned the mission, rose to the surface, hoping to be found. That's the best case scenario.
So I've been on numerous searches inshore in a rescue boat. You know, the energy level is high, the adrenaline is through the roof. Everybody is up on deck and on
The
watch.
boot there, Canadian, eh?
Using every available piece of equipment and all eyes. So
That's
now
what
I
I'm
know
saying.
there's
Why would you want to
numerous
go
vessels out there.
13,000 feet
But
underwater?
the second reason
Like-
why I look on the surface is that the U.S. Coast Guard couldn't really do much else. The only capacity they would have had to look underwater was from the ship that launched the
Street
submersible
saying
in the
you're
first
next.
place.
Funny guy. You're a funny man. You're a funny man. If I do say so myself.
I mentioned at the start.
She
how
say
this was
we're
like
next.
Looking for a needle in
I'm gonna
a
take
haystack.
Andre out on a date
Adding
in the
to the
submarine.
complexity of this case is
I lie?
the
Rich
fact
white people
that,
just got bored.
This was a submersible vessel. We're also having to search in the water column.
That water column.
He don't
is
even look worried.
13,000
Look, this brother, my man don't even look worried. Look at this.
The fact that this was a submersible vessel. We're also having to search in the water column.
That water column is 13,000 feet deep. But it's worse than that because the Coast Guard can't actually go that far down. It can only listen.
And we're doing that right now with the
Listen.
use
Didn't they hear banging
sonar
sounds?
buoys
Like-
and sonar on the
Or
ship
something?
that's
Didn't
out
they hear
there
some shit?
to listen for any sounds that we can detect in the water column.
I swear they heard some shit.
As of yesterday, the Coast Guard was expecting other ships to arrive on scene soon. From
It was not a PS1
the
controller.
Canadian
Yes, it
Armed
was. You can
Forces,
see that
from
shit?
The U.S. Navy, even other commercial vessels in the area. Some, the Coast Guard hopes, will have some kind of subsurface capability. But even if you hear something by sonar, even if you could pinpoint their exact location, you might still have to actually go down there and bring them back up.
And you're somewhat
Oh my fucking god, I just realized. Okay. Alright. Fair enough, yeah, they find them. How are they supposed to go down there and get them? If they themselves with a submarine that costs $250K per person couldn't fucking go down there themselves, how are they supposed to get them? You know what I'm saying? They can't. They're fucked. Another submarine. So the nigga in that submarine has to be big enough to grab them and pull them out. Exactly. They only had like they have no more air technically.
you know, at the whim of the currents, the undersea currents.
The guy made it's been on
which
like
go
30
all the
times
way to the
before.
bottom.
Yeah,
They
well,
go
not
in
31
different
times.
directions depending on the depth you're at.
Not 31 times.
Here's what OceanGate said in a written statement. Our entire focus is on the crew members in the submersible and their families. We are deeply thankful for the extensive assistance we have received from several government agencies and deep sea companies in our efforts to
They can't even get sued, can they? Because them other niggas signed the waiver, they signed the contract, they signed that shit saying that, oh, I'm fine if I die. These niggas can't even get sued. Did you hear the audio of them crying? There's audio of them crying? Nah, you're taking a piss. You're taking a piss.
Establish contact with the submersible. But what they don't acknowledge here is that time
and we are
may
also
be
following
running out. The submersible only has about 96 hours.
Rescue efforts off the coast of Cape Cod. According to Coast Guard
they should get
estimates,
sued. They
there's
can't get sued.
potentially less than 24 hours of oxygen supply left on board that missing submersible. A multinational search is now expanding. Madison Scarpino reports.
The U.S. Coast Guard and Canadian forces deploying more assets to join the search for a missing submersible
Where's
in the Atlantic
audio,
Ocean.
blood?
Official experts are now analyzing the data, and a remotely operated vehicle has been moved to the spot. But officials say so far,
Where's the banging sounds heard? Where the fuck is the audio? No, listen again, cause this is creepy as fuck. I'm not trying to hear niggas dying. What the fuck?
Of emergency oxygen
going
on
on?
board. That's 4 days, with 2 days already having gone by. If the submersible isn't already at the surface, the best hope here is that it at least would still have motor control, that it could operate under its own power.
I'm very optimistic. The technology available today.
If it could operate on its own power, wouldn't it be coming up? Or no?
Oh, it's very high tech. You know, I've been
Man
asked,
said
is
if the
deep
controller
submersible
connected to a
diving
different
safe? I think it's very
PlayStation,
safe.
some little kid at home trying to play Fortnite and some random ass controllers better going forwards and backwards for him.
I dove on a
Crazy.
platform.
That's so
you know,
fucked.
20 years ago, that platform was used for many years prior to that, and dove many
This
times
is so
a lot
sad.
deeper than Titanic. I'm very optimistic.
Why they
that
didn't
this
test
will
it
come to
better?
a-
They already went
a
down
very
multiple
happy
times.
ending.
Like
I'm
they've done this
hopeful that
before.
it
This
will.
isn't like the
The
first time
Coast
many
Guard said to
people.
expect more updates.
I didn't even know
assets
this was a
in the
thing.
water in the coming days.
I didn't know rich niggas were doing this shit.
We and the whole world, it seems, will be watching.
I didn't know that. I really did not know that rich niggas were doing this shit.